Welcome, everyone, to Andromeda 7, your celestial gateway. Hey, thanks for joining us tonight. And tonight is the first part of a new series we're doing, exploring esoteric secret societies. And this is part 1. Yeah, we're really excited about this. We're going to be exploring some of the ancient knowledge that's been around since pre-Atlantean. Through that epoch and everything. It's so amazing. We've done a deep dive into this subject. We're really super excited about it. Nick is going to lead the discussion tonight, but I'm going to let Teresa introduce him on that. But first, let's say hello to everyone in chat. And thank you all for joining us. Hey, Barry Chad, Elderberry, good to see you. Yep, you got your eye on. Oh, we got our eye on you. Awesome. Cool. Elizabeth Bauer, such a pleasure. Hope you're doing well tonight. Thanks. Yeah, thanks for joining us. Love seeing you here. Thanks for being in chat. Hola, gang. Hi, Scotty boy. What's going on? How are you? Hope you're feeling well. Things are going good for you. It's good to see you. We miss you when you're not here.
Scotty.
Good. No pressure, Scotty. Really, no pressure. When you're here, that's wonderful. We love to see you. We do miss you when you're not. Yeah. So this is an incredible thing tonight. So I'm going to pass this on to Teresa and have her talk a little bit about this. And then Nick is going to do a presentation. And before the presentation, we do have a quick video for you to just kind of introduce you to the Rosicrucians. A lot of people may not even know who they are or what they represent. There might be some misconceptions and things like that. But it's not what you think. So, yeah, I'll pass it over to you, Teresa.
All right, great. Well, thank you. Love your background there. That's pretty cool.
Yours is cool, too. I like it.
Yeah. Well, for all those that are listening to the program and those that are slowly making their way into the chat room, greetings and salutations to all of you. Much favor and love. Sophia, by the way, might be jumping into the chat room a little later. She's been working pretty hard this week on all of her extracurricular and work-related activities. She's putting together a sermon for the Camp Chesterfield. She'll be delivering the sermon this weekend. So that took a focus. It's a good challenge for her. So we wish her well and good healing, and that her head doesn't hurt too much.
Yeah.
We know how that is.
Pain-free.
Greetings, Mary Manfield. So this, we actually are primarily an esoteric channel, and our focus has been on personal transformation, spiritual growth and development, and all things esoteric and mystical. And as you know, for those of you who follow our program on a regular basis, we are led by spirit-led, which means we put into practice a lot of what you're going to hear about as traditions that go way back to the very beginning, as we understand the beginning to be in esoteric society. And Dalibor and I were working on delving into this a little bit deeper. Last year, we did a couple of show programs. We did it on the modern mystery schools. We used Camp Chesterfield as an example of how it's carried forward in modern times. We did a show about the Essenes and their culture and how they were related all the way back to ancient civilization teachings, all the way back to ancient civilizations. And we touched on Atlantis with Terry
Ryan.
Terry Ryan, when we were talking about the modern mystery schools. So we've kind of touched on a little bit of this here and there, but if you follow us on a regular basis, you will know that most of what we share are shared experiences. Laurie and I haven't been to formal schools, mystery schools. We haven't, and most of us on the panel have minimal exposure to those, but we have modern spiritual practices that follow natural law, principles of Hermetics and so forth. So Dalibor and I were trying to figure out what some of these connections were between what our good friend Laird Scranton covers with his language, studies of linguistics and symbology. And Laird, if you're watching or if you catch this later, we're very grateful for all the time we've spent on this program in the past, helping us to understand and break things down. But we were so enthralled with the Dogon symbolism and how the linguistic ties were back to some of the pre-Egyptian and even Egyptian, and then on and even to Samaria, other parts of Samaria. We just didn't know where those connections were, nor did we understand how they all tied into the individual mystery schools because there's so many of them. Nor did we understand why everything was such a big fat secret. the deeper you dig, the more you realize, ooh, of course it was. Because everybody wants to get a hold of this information so that they can use it in nefarious ways to suit their own agendas and not for the greater good of humanity or for their own personal transformation and growth. So Dalibor was in the process of making these connections, and I was working with some of the sacred geometry, and we were trying to bring it together. And as you know, it was his time to move on. And he said to me, you know who would be really good for this at the time? That new guy, that young guy, Nick Doss. He says, he's like a younger version of me. I remember being a lot like him when I was at 8, So he really respected Nick, and he thought Nick had a great deal of potential. So I went to Nick after Dalibor moved on, and I tapped into Dalibor a little bit, and he's like, do it, ask him. It doesn't hurt to ask. So I said, hey, Nick, here's Larry Scranton's book. And so I started telling him a little bit about what we were, but I didn't give him too much because I didn't know where he would take it. Well, since then, Nick has been diving in, and you will hear tonight some of the incredible information that he unturned and his take on it from a spiritual science perspective, as well as a transformation perspective, and what he's learned. And he's done a great deal of work and research, folks, and he's still at it. And he's put together a great presentation, and this is a deeper dive than we normally do. Mm-hmm. So if you're already into all of this and you know a lot of this, then just go along with the ride and pitch in and help out when you can, make comments. But if you're fairly new to it, it will introduce you to some things that you will just blow your mind. If you haven't been following it on other programs and you don't know much about what these mystery schools are and what they're about. But a lot of them get a bad rap. And I think what you're going to find out is that it's pretty profound, the knowledge they've held on to and why they've done it the way they've done it and why now is the time for it to come out. So one last thing, then I'll turn it over to Nick and Laurie. And that is, it's really important when you're studying something like this. It might best serve you if you just relax and drop all your preconceived judgments, ideas, and notions about what you think. Mm-hmm. Based on things you may have been told by other people who are either just felt disenfranchised by it or don't believe in it or poo-poo it or whatever the idea is. Come here into this is a safe space, and it always has been. So people, when you come into this program and follow this program with us, nobody's ever telling you what to do, how to think, how to feel, what you should do, what you shouldn't do. We just present the information, not only as we research it, like Marsha Price, she researches just the heck out of everything, but she has great information that she shares. Other people in this community have come on the program, and we share either what we know, what we've personally experienced, or what we've researched. And we share that information with others. And then what you do with that is up to you and how you absorb that information. But we're hoping that this will be something that is very beneficial to current events and current transformation of this earth into new earth, the shift in energies, in your own ascension process itself. Because every 26,000 years, something major changes, and we go through the dark night of the soul, the whole planet. And we have to rebuild, restart, regenerate, get back to our basics, get back to our roots, and this should help get you through some of that. So without further ado, Nick, thank you for stepping up to the plate and taking this on and doing such a fantastic job. We really appreciate you being here tonight. We really, really thank you for what you're about to share.
Yeah, really appreciate that. We do have a quick video for you to watch. This will give the people that don't have any idea what the Rosicrucians are, give you a general idea of what's going on. So we'll watch the video. When we come back, then Nick will give his presentation. All right, let's do this. Welcome to our series, Exploring Esoteric Secret Societies. Through this series, we'll examine and challenge our current mindsets and understanding of esoteric teachings and take an opportunity to do a deep dive into the importance to explore and review ancient knowledge and wisdom. The traditions of all mystery schools throughout time have been held together by a common thread, a common order of the wisdom knowledge keepers, known from our current Post Atlantean Epoch as the Rosicrucian Order. Now, even today, their knowledge is practiced by initiates with various organizations, such as the Masons, the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn, and modern-day members of the Rosicrucian Order. The Rosicrucian Order is a philosophical and educational organization, not a religion. The Rosicrucians are mystics of enlightenment. They were a legendary and historical secret society that emerged in the 17th century Europe, claiming to possess esoteric wisdom and the power to reform religion, science, and the arts. Their origins are centuries old. While their existence is debated, the Rosicrucian movement had a significant impact on intellectual occult thought. They believe in secret wisdom traditionally passed down through ancient times that can transform humanity. By revealing hidden knowledge about the universe, the spiritual realm, and the natural world, they combine elements of occultism, Hermeticism, Jewish mysticism, and Christian Gnosticism. Key beliefs include the importance of spiritual advancement, selfless service, and the study of natural laws to live in harmony with them. Centuries ago, they were actually alchemists who used alchemy as an allegory for refining their qualities from the more dense to the more refined. In themselves, it's about personal transformation. Their core beliefs and practices begin with spiritual enlightenment, the pursuit of divine knowledge through transformation and mystical experiences. Alchemy as a metaphor, not just turning lead into gold, but refining the soul, transmuting ignorance into wisdom. Unity of science and spirit, they champion the harmony between scientific inquiry and spiritual insight, a concept that resonates deeply with modern holistic approaches. They also believed in universal brotherhood, emphasized compassion, interconnectedness, and service to humanity. Geometric light codes and symbols, as well as sound and light through the mystical semiotics. How does this influence modern spirituality? Rosicrucianism has profoundly shaped contemporary spiritual movements. It's through New Age philosophies, holistic healing, and even quantum spirituality. The Rosicrucians' view of the universe as a web of vibrational energies aligns with modern ideas about consciousness and the interconnectedness of all life. In a world increasingly hungry for meaning beyond materialism, Rosicrucians' ideals offer a timeless path, one of inner alchemy, cosmic harmony, and the sacred quest for truth. Oh, yeah. There we go. Awesome. Hope you enjoyed that. And now on to you, Nick.
All right. So let me just get started with the share screen.
You betcha.
And we can get this on the show on the road.
You got it. All right.
All right. So today we are presenting the Secret Society series, and the first episodes will be about the Rosicrucians. So let me go over some of the key points that we will be discussing. We're going to be exploring occult secret societies and their roles. We're going to examine humanity's epoch cycles. We're going to dispel the fear and foster understanding. We're going to cultivate discernment among group members. And we're going to consider Thoth's influence in the writing process. So if you guys have been watching me for a while, you would know by now that me and Thoth have a pretty special connection.
Yep.
Me and him are so in tune that his memories sync with mine, and he gives me information that normally you wouldn't be able to get. This helps me in finding these connections.
Dalibor had connections to Thoth as well. I'm not sure if you knew that or not, but he's very close to that as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I believe that.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah. So in this series, we are going to go over the teachings of the Rosicrucians and how they got influenced by even older societies. Because like how Teresa was saying, they presented Laird Scratton's book to me about the Dogon. And it's so the Dogon are ancient priests from Egypt. They're the ones that were guarding the tablet, not tablets. The emerald tablets of Thoth are a westernized version made by Doriel, and he just sectioned it off into 13 pieces when it's really just one tablet altogether. That's a misconception that some people have. So I wanted to clarify that. So these are Eastern traditions that got passed down to the Western side of things. And we're going to be going over this. We're going to be going over the actual light aspect of the occult and how to discern members who are actually doing their jobs and responsibilities versus the ones who are not. All right, so let's get into some of the history.
All right.
Oh, and a side note, I will try to go slow because this will be a data dump for people that are unfamiliar.
Mm-hmm.
So if you catch me going too fast, just let me know, because I process things a bit faster. So
Understandable.
Yeah. Okay, so part 1, the Rosicrucian Order. So the true order requires a recommendation by 3 members. And they won't tell you who they are unless they walk up to you. They're not like Freemasonry, where they're out in the open, posting signs and like showing their lodges. Like they're a bit more disorganized than that. There's still an order, but there's not like an official establishment because of the nature of the Rosicrucians. The secret doctrine claims that they were founded by Christian Rosicrucians around 1425. And it wasn't until 1610 that the general populace started catching wind of this order, and they started calling them the Brothers of the Rosy Cross. The book that they have claims that this is not a full truth, and that through that allegory, you'll find the real way it got established. Some teachings that are part of Rosicrucians are actually part of the teachings of Freemasonry. From what I found so far, they specifically founded and helped create the 33rd Scottish Rite. And they also had a sub branch of Hermetics as well. They also founded the Golden Dawn. So it's interesting that we find those Western connections linked to Rosicrucians. And the Rosicrucian orders also claim that this is not Western teachings. Rosicrucians learned from monks in India, Arabia, and Persia specifically. And there's an axiom that they bring up. They say, look to east, whence comes all light.
Didn't Jesus also spend a lot of time with the same types of people that were out here, the same types of teachings?
Yes, he did. He was actively in the Middle East doing things very similar to what Christian was also doing, just in a different time. And so with that axiom, look to the east whence comes all light, I have a theory that when Atlantis collapsed, that all the divine teachings heavily influenced the east, while all the profane teachings heavily influenced the west.
Mm-hmm.
Why they divided it up that way, I haven't remembered yet. I haven't got that piece of the puzzle yet, but there must have been an important reason why. Okay, so now here's a little bit more history. So they are committed to alchemy across all three dimensions of life. While it is commonly misunderstood that their focus lies solely on matter and the transmutation of elements, the truth is they were more frequently engaged in mental and spiritual alchemy. Those well-versed in natural law can apply the law of correspondence to comprehend the reasoning behind this, with the axiom, as above, so below, being particularly relevant. So basically, what that means is that they understand to be balanced with the higher self, you have to be balanced in the lower self, which represents our body. Well, our bodies are threefold in nature, hence the symbolism of the Holy Trinity that we always see all the time. That's the real symbolism of what that means. It's the Holy Spirit, God, and Jesus. They are symbolisms to show the three facets of men, being mental, physical, and spiritual.
Mm-hmm.
And they had they emphasized a lot of importance on balancing all three and improving on all three at all times as a way to connect to divinity. Some of these teachings remain confidential due to their profound significance. Even when shared, they are often conveyed through riddles. Despite my own efforts to clarify these concepts through disambiguation and past life insights, I exercise caution in presenting them plainly, especially given to the public nature of this platform. So instead of me going like, this is the truth and nothing but the truth, I am going to rather offer you guidance. I'm going to show you what I know, and then you can run with it and see how that can help you in your life. So students can explore further independently. The contrast between Eastern and Western philosophies can cause confusion for unprepared individuals, much like handing a child a dangerous weapon. As the saying goes, do not throw pearls before swine, meat for men, milk for babes. The fundamental mission of these orders is to safeguard the flame, not to leave it exposed and vulnerable. So most of the stuff that I'm telling you guys, you can find it in public ways. It's not like super secret, word to mouth only stuff. Most of it. There is some stuff that I figured out that is word to mouth. I'm going to share a little bit.
Can I just add that there is a channel called the Rosicrucian TV. Do a search for it in the search bar on YouTube. And NEXT, who's been on our show before, does a lot of research. He did the narration of it. I watched it today. It was very, very good. So Rosicrucian TV on YouTube.
There is also. It's white food.
Yeah, you were muted there. Sorry about that.
He and his wife and daughter are members of the Rosicrucian Order.
There you
the
go.
new modern Rosicrucian Order.
Interesting.
He does a lot of their history videos and stuff.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. A lot of this of what I'm going over, it will be, it's my interpretation, but it's also going to be a mix of their secret doctrine. It's a book called the Rosicrucian Secret Doctrine, author named Magus Incognito, but I think they've revealed the actual name too. I just don't remember it off the top of my head. All right.
It's probably Maxwell or something. His name is Maxwell.
Sounds familiar. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's see. Where was I? Oh yeah. So the law of attraction with correct intentions plays a huge role in finding what's true. Me presenting this now, to me, is symbolic of saying this audience is ready for this level of illumination, and that I am ready to present it. Therefore, I am proud of all of us in this regard.
Yeah.
All right. So the affiliation with Atlantis, the fourth epoch, and the roots of the fifth, which we're going to consider this one. Some people claim that we might be in the sixth or in the seventh, but for simplifying it, we're just going to say the fifth. So after Atlantis and the cataclysm that transpired with their continent.
Well, each epoch has, on a broader level, the whole civilization itself, and then there's cultures within it, and within each of those are epochs.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's like think of a giant clock. This is the time that the spherical evolution of the planet has hit the Post Atlantean, and then we are in the Aquarius, getting ready to move into the Russian, and then we'll be the American. So there are different phases, if you will, or different cycles or time clocks within each epoch. But you're going to cover something. All of those are just layers of awareness and expansion of the earth itself, the planet itself. But then there's the consciousness of humanity following that exact route. So what you're covering here is critical. It's important to understand how they saw it and how they practiced and protected themselves from those energies.
Oh yeah, it's extremely critical. The whole reason why thought's helping me out in the first place is because, let's be honest, we don't want to see another Atlantis event.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
The whole reason why they perished the way they did is because they got arrogant. They were messing with black magic too hard and did some stuff that was irredeemable. So it had to be a full reset. That did not happen to Lemuria, which is considered the third epoch. Lemuria did great during their era. So their country and continent was still actually around during Atlantis. And even now, it's still around. It's just, well, what historians claim that look into cosmology. They claim that it's Australia and pieces of America, while some of it is still underwater.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So that goes to show you how actions can have consequences. Lemuria did everything great, like they were supposed to, and their remnants are still around. And Atlantis, they got a little too power hungry, and they're under the sea. And so it just goes to show the law of cause and effect, which the Rosicrucians teach. So we'll get into that. But any whoosies. So every knowledgeable individual, regardless of background, recognizes the importance of the occult teachings originating from Atlantis. The Rosicrucians, for example, gradually developed their doctrines based on the wisdom passed down by occult masters from regions such as Egypt, India, Persia, Assyria, Greece, Medea, etc., all of which were taught by survivors of Atlantis and divine liminal beings of ET nature that have also assisted in humanity's progression. The secret Grecian teachings share this common foundation. Even mystical Hebrew texts like the Kabbalah and Zohar reflect the influence of Atlantean knowledge. A dedicated occult student understands the widespread impact of Atlantis across the world. They played a significant role in the transmission of the wisdom from them to us in ancient times. I can personally confirm this and the importance from past life memories involving the mission I orchestrated after the cataclysm of the Fourth Epoch to spread this information. Thoth has literally, he's given me fractals of how that all transpired. Like I can clearly see him and his disciples in like right hand and left hand, and or a couple of his lovers that were in agreement with how he did things. I just see him in a giant room. It was outside, but also inside, if that makes sense. Like it wasn't like fully like covered with 4 walls and a roof. It was more like I see a roof made out of stone and then like some pillars to keep it up, and then they were outside and they didn't really have any main walls.
Wasn't I'm sorry to interrupt, but wasn't Thoth very controlling and very in control of the information and the way it was presented?
Yeah, so what he claims in the Emerald Tablets is he claims that he was taught personally by what they could call the council.
Yeah.
And they all represent a number 0 through 9.
Mm-hmm.
And they were since they had Atlantean knowledge, they were using that knowledge to tap into these multi-dimensional supreme beings that kind of govern this entire universe. And he was curious, like I am. So he asked, asking ye shall receive, as the saying goes.
Mm-hmm.
He studied a lot. Like they even figured out how to reincarnate without passing on.
Huh,
yes. The ascension process without it's like living in 2 places at the exact same time. They learned how to be everywhere all at once.
Yeah, so this is the tech they kind of had. So once a body was ready to give out and move on, they would put them in these pits that, unbeknownst to some people, like Egypt has already shown, they're just really old and they don't really, and the ones that work, they're hidden. But anyways, they had these pits, they put the old body in it, and it would somehow hold the consciousness of that person. And then they somehow put that consciousness into a new body. And that's how Thoth did it. That's how he was around for like over 100,000 years at one point.
That's interesting.
He just kept cycling.
Yeah, that's fascinating.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Dalibor had touched on the fact that he felt Thoth was a thought form in modern consciousness, has resurfaced as a thought form for the function of a gatekeeper.
Yeah, I can agree with that. Because like when I claim I'm Thoth, I will also say that if someone else claims the same, they're most likely not lying, because these entities are pretty big in energy wise, and they can split and work multiple people at once. Just no different with other ascended masters or other certain high ranking angels that can work and protect multiple people at once.
Mm-hmm.
Because they just have that dimensional mastery. They're like 6, 7, 8th dimensional, doing crazy stuff that 3D, 4D.
Yeah. 5D. Now, Steve Bowe just brought up an important point here, Laurie.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, Thoth could create a new body to transfer his consciousness, the dream of eternal life.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
As people will start learning part of this knowledge later, when we get deeper and deeper into it, is the concept that we are the creators and we manifest life here in 3 dimension as a projection of our conscious thought, that we're just in a illusion, but that it's in our subconscious where we always reside as spirits. And we're just using the physical body to anchor us to the earth in a physical form. So Thoth understood, because he ascended in his knowledge and understanding of how this works. And so he was at a vibrational frequency where he could incarnate and project a thought in any body, in any human form. He could put his consciousness in a dream. It's like being in a dream state is what this means.
Mm-hmm.
This is the dream. This is the dream. that we're living, for the experiences. So that's the premise behind that. And so he mastered that ability to do that. So go ahead.
Yep. And anyone who's familiar with the Emerald Tablets, this is what he refers to as the halls of Amenti. He went into the halls of Amenti. He confronted the dark. He asked the questions. He got the answers and the rewards from doing those trials. They're not easy trials, because I've seen people do them in Egypt. They actually allow you to do this in Egypt. They won't let you record, but you can go into a room pitch black. And apparently it's one of these rooms where you can tap into that type of stuff. And a lot of people cannot handle it.
Yeah, I can imagine that would be a lot to take in.
Yeah, because you're doing things like seeing your reflection, like your ego. They're going to bring up everything you don't want to talk about. If you're not ready to talk about it.
Yeah.
And if you're not on this right wavelength also, you could also tap into some of those NAA entities. The malevolent dark entities that we call like energy vampires and whatnot, like they will manifest. So yeah, it's really important that you put in the actual work instead of just going feet first into something like that. Because I've seen people fracture. I've seen people like just never come back from it. So with all this being said, the teachings that I'm presenting here should be regarded as direct teachings of Atlantis, along with my transmigration of Thoth, chiming through my text. I'm not as good as Teresa yet. I can't just on the spot like she can yet. Me and him usually.
Well, she does have what, 30 years on you, so.
Right. Usually I tap into him when I'm alone in my flow state.
Gotcha.
Doing work like this.
Yeah.
So if my voice changes a little bit, or my linguistics or whatever through the text, or even when I might be talking, well, you know why. That's why.
Yeah.
But yes, this is what the Rosicrucians taught. It was their best way of explaining what the Atlanteans taught to the eastern side of the world. So now to start out with some of the meat and potatoes. This is the symbol of the Rosy Cross.
Yeah.
The general explanation of the cross is sevenfold. This means within it, you can see 7 different kinds of symbols all in one with their own separate meaning. The axiom that comes to mind for me is the one and the many. So 3 out of these 7 symbolics are reserved for a certain rank in the order. So usually they won't be mentioned, but Teresa and Laurie helped me figure one out. So since they helped me out and they also have it on a picture behind her, I think I'm okay to talk about it.
Yeah.
So the next slide will go over their symbolism and get you on the right track of uncovering the entire puzzle. Note that their universal laws are extremely similar to the Hermetic Golden Dawn. To top it off, the fact both groups use the same cross as proof of their ties. So this is the original symbol of the Rosy Cross. And then the first symbol includes the cross surmounted on the rose being symbolic to the mystic divine. That implies that divinity is only reachable by experiencing the suffrage of mortal life, the cross representing the suffrage. I'm pretty sure everyone here, that goes ding, ding, ding in the head with the whole symbolism with Jesus.
Yeah.
Yeah, what you're looking at is the symbolism on one level of understanding, which is more on the physical level of understanding. There is an underlying meaning behind each one of these symbols that means so much more.
Yep.
And we'll be getting into it as we build on it.
Yep. The second symbolism that this image represents is a sword attached to the rose. It indicates that the sword of the spirit must be actively deployed in the battle of life in order to win the reward of the rose. So far we got to reach divinity, one must suffer. And to get those rewards, you have to fight for it. Now, I believe a lot of people have misinterpreted what that actually means. Personally, I feel like some people are like, oh, so I just have to live a horrible life and then I can go into ecstasy later. I'm like, no, not.
There's a little bit more to it, right?
Yeah, it doesn't have to be that extreme.
Yeah.
People got to remember that Earth is just a school and you're here to learn.
Yep.
Learning requires growth pains.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you don't have to go into the pits of despair, but there's going to be struggle, and it's necessary for your growth. That's what that means.
Very true.
And then the sword of life, the sword of the spirit must be actively deployed. That doesn't necessarily mean we have to blow all each other up to get the Holy Grail. That's not what that means either. That just means that you have to work for it. Get what you want. Something of true value. It's not going to be handed to you. You have to work for it. There's going to be conflict and opposition, of course. That doesn't necessarily mean we have to kill each other over it. I think that's another misconception that people get.
Again, I hate to interrupt, but Jean-Paul here has a very good point. To me, the center is the meeting of God, which is the cave of Brahma.
Oh, yeah.
Behind the pineal gland is that cave of Brahma, the void, the where the meeting place, where you're connected to the all that is located. So thank you, Jean-Paul, for mentioning that.
Yes, we appreciate that, because that's actually what Teresa and Laurie taught me about some of the secret symbolism behind it. We were going to bring it up. Okay, so that's the first and second. The third is the cross surmounted by the crown indicates the suffering of the disciple of truth will inevitably obtain the crown of mastery. The axiom of every cross has its crown. This can also be interpreted as the law of compensation. Whatever you put in, you get out. That's how I interpret this. Then the fourth one that they talk about in the book is the modified phallic cross indicates the sexual duality of the manifested universe, the existence of the universal male and female principle, respectively, also known as the Hermetic principle of gender. They express that this does not indicate phallic worship. That latter is a distorted shadow of truth, and it's not be seen as reality. So when they brought that up, I was like, what are they talking about? Apparently, there is a cult called phallicism, and their whole premise is worshiping dicks. Kind of crazy.
Okay. Alrighty then.
Yeah. It's
things that make you go,
Oh, it does. And I think the next episode, I'm going to dive into that a little bit. And you're going to see how much it actually influences our civilization.
Little patriarchal, maybe?
Yeah. Well, their influence is definitely in America, because they got phallics all over the place. We in plain sight. Some people just don't realize it. That's for next episode. I'll talk about that a little bit, because the book brings it up again. So yeah.
I'll give you a little hint, everybody. The shaft of the sword, see behind my shoulder, has to do with receiving that Christ consciousness, that divine consciousness. But it represents, as you'll learn later, as you get deeper and deeper into this, the chakras. It's related to the different energy centers in your body. And they're not just meant to be, and it's the activation of them at certain levels of initiation. So it's a little bit different than the healing chakras in India. It's a spinal fluid, and it's the activation of these different energy centers of consciousness within different levels. So it's not so much about suffrage. It's about judgment. And it's as you awaken and forgive and let go, and practice forgiveness of self, forgiveness of others. And as you let go, you're activating these different centers that vibrate with your own energy within your own body, to the extent that you work yourself out of judgment to non-judgment. So you work your way back to your own divinity. And it's a very important teaching because it's what hinges all of time and all of these mystery schools. We're trying to teach you how to go about changing those levels of vibration from within, deep within, as you come into different levels of transformation, as you grow and expand your consciousness. It's an ascension pathway. And that's what the sword is representing. This is what the cross is representing. And then Jean, you're right. Is it Jean or Jean? How do you pronounce that? The dot in the center is a 0-point gravity or 0-point energy state. And that dot in the middle represents the Godhead, your own divinity from within. So it gets more and more into it. And then there are practices and exercises that will help you achieve these energy states, just like Thoth did.
Yep.
Okay.
And even the Rosicrucians, even though they're being secret about it, they are dropping hints. Like right at the beginning, they were like, hey, Christian learned from Arabia, Persia, Egypt, etc. Like he learned the Eastern ways. Like he went to India. So like, yeah, that's going to involve chakras. That's going to involve the Kundalini, etc. So like, yeah, like it's all the same teachings. They just westernized this version for the Western populace. So that's a whole symbolism for like things like the Vitruvian Man or like Jesus being on the cross. That's the true symbolism behind that stuff. All right.
Thank you, Jean.
But yeah, they specifically emphasize that they're not a part of phallicism. So I'm thinking maybe that's why some people might be kind of in about the Rosicrucians, because maybe they know about that cult, and then they're like, no, they have their symbolism. They can't be the good guys or whatever. Because I mean, it's basic occult knowledge that you're not supposed to idolize false idols, and I can't think of anything more false than the Netherland areas. Nothing wrong with them. It's just you're not supposed to get obsessed like that. I can see where a lot of conflict arises from that misconception. But anyways, moving on. So now that we have gone into the introduction, let's go into some of the secret teachings that Rosicrucians taught. So the first aphorism states, the eternal parent was wrapped in the sleep of the cosmic night. Light there was not, for the flame of spirit was not yet rekindled. Time there was not, for change had not re-begun. Things there were not, for form had not represented itself. Action there was not, for there were no things to act. The pairs of opposites there were not, for there were no things to manifest polarity. The eternal parent, causeless, indivisible, changeless, infinite, rested in unconscious, dreamless sleep. Other than the eternal parent, there was not, either real or apparent. So, this aphorism is to get the student's attention to the concept of the infinite source of all things, that they dub the eternal parent. In Hermetics, they call it source. So that's what I'm used to, because I was introduced to Hermetics before anything else. So if I say source, I'm talking on accident, I'm talking about the same thing.
The all that is, yes?
Yes. So this concept is brought up in Hermetics with the universal principle of mentalism, along with the other unhidden six principles and the hidden 5 that Hermetics also teaches. Rosicrucians use a circle with nothing within it or without it as a symbol for its limitless nature. It's inadequate due to the fact you literally can't draw infinite space, but it is the simplest way we have found how to describe infinity/eternity. This infinite represents the nature of this entire reality before it started manifesting into activity and form, also known as the start that made the first epoch, the Polarian Age. So down here is the Rosicrucians' way of describing infinity. And if any occult student worth their salt knows that a circle also represents the Ouroboros in alchemy, which is a symbol that represents immortality. So I've dubbed it as Epoch Zero. Before that infinite, before the space was created for the Polarian Age or something before that. I haven't found a name for it, so I just made it Epoch Zero to simplify it. The start before anything began, essentially.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Brother Barry Chad, we will be getting to a discussion about the codices and the cross with the snake around it representing the medical insignia and all that, what it really meant way, way, way back was something totally different. That's what it translated into modern Western civilizations as a sign for medical. But it actually goes much deeper than that. It goes all the way back to the Hittites and the Phoenicians and the Assyrians. And it was all about balance of opposing forces, positive and negative forces. But we'll get to that later on in the programming.
Yeah.
Sorry, Nick.
Oh, it's all good. Okay, so the next part is the infinite's development of finite concepts. The first aphorism states that the eternal parent was wrapped in the sleep of the cosmic night. This part of the aphorism is reference to the cosmic days and the cosmic nights. Days and nights are symbolic for the universal law of rhythm. Whether you are being of the highest order or the smallest animalculi, there is a universal consensus that abides to this rule, and we with higher intelligence can notice it. The adept student understands how deep this goes. Consciousness into the unconsciousness, active into the inactive, nights and days of Brahma, as have been mentioned, ego and higher self, etc. Principle of rhythm is manifested in many different ways. So currently, we are in the day cycle, essentially, because we're aware, we're active, we're doing stuff. The planets are moving around everywhere. Things are happening. So essentially, it is that awake stage. Before the Polarian Epoch, it would be considered the night stage where nothing was going on. Everything was just a voidless sleep. So that is to give you some concept of how they are explaining this principle on a grander scale. And also show the building blocks of how this entire reality was created in the first place. So the alpha and omega that are conjoined to the hip by a third force being the entirety of the two. And this is what the Hermetic principle of mentalism goes into as well. So the realization of the eternal parent being mental is why I and other ascended masters call eggheads and hippies the half-wise. For one only believes in the ethereal, while the latter only believes in science. Both are rejecting their opposite polarity, not realizing they are both products of the true reality. The spirit and body is not where infinite lies. They are the byproducts of mentalism. The mind is where everything begins and ends. The eternal parent thinks, so it is. That's where everything comes from, a thought. Atlantis and Lemuria, along with the other older civilizations during these epochs, understood this, and is why their civilizations were synchronized by the advancement of inorganic technology and the humanism of organic nature. To reach the highest form of divinity you can in the material realm, you must apply both concepts in a healthy manner. I cannot stress enough how important this is to get the life you actually want before the traumas and how to mend the corruption in society. The current atmosphere of the fifth cycle is obvious with the principle of correspondence. People are doing unhealthy black and unhealthy white magic on live TV at this point. This is a manifested representation of exactly how many people are running rampant with this corruption. So just to say this, I'm not pointing fingers, but if this describes you, it's time to stop and heal. Otherwise, the cause and effect of past actions will be a tragic one. It will be, as I've said before, another Atlantis level catastrophe all over again. The axiom that comes to mind in this is, if you can't beat them, join them. Well, I say that's loser talk for the current climate, since that is you mentally consenting to that perverted reality that they're trying to generate.
Yeah.
So yeah, I just
Hi
want.
guys, I'm gonna
Oh.
interrupt real quick.
Oh, Jasmine's here.
Hi, Jess.
Hey, Jazz.
Oh, was that main? What was the screen not big enough?
No.
Oh.
Now you can click the arrows.
Oh, okay.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, that's better.
Yep.
Okay.
Thanks, Jazz.
Continue.
Yeah, there was yep. Yeah, boy, now we can see it a lot better. Thank
Thank
for
you,
that.
Christy, for pointing that out.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, where was I? Here. Okay. So yes. So to emphasize the fact, I mean, everyone knows what I'm talking about. I don't have to say any names or any organizations. If
Mhm.
you're into this stuff, you know who should be switching their actions. But it's not just them. They're not the only ones that need to take accountability and switch up. Like I said, if they're presenting it, it's a physical representation of what the majority is doing, not just the elites.
Mhm.
I'm not God, so I can't see what you're doing, but I promise you, someone's seeing what you're doing.
Truth is truth.
Yep.
It's there. Mhm.
Yep. And it's recorded.
Yep.
So no one's expecting you to be perfect, but they are expecting everyone to at least make the attempt to be better.
Mm-hmm. Do the best you can.
Yep. So, slight warning. It sounds kind of foreboding, but it needs to be said. All right. So, why opposites are necessary for the formula of life to work and how to master it. So, wait, did I skip one?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I did. Hold on. Okay, we're on this one.
Mm-hmm.
Time is how we describe change. Space is the catalyst for everything to transpire. Oh, whoa. Hold on, I'm getting used to the edit that Jasmine did. Okay.
You're doing great, Nick. Thank you.
Yeah, you're doing great.
Hey. Okay. Let me say it again. Time is how we describe change. Space is the catalyst for everything to transpire. The first aphorism further states that time there was not, for change had not begun. The first aphorism further states action there was not, for there were no things to act. The concept of time is an invention to help us rationalize, organize, and make a level of order from a concept that we can't fully comprehend at the infinite level. There is no such thing as time in the bigger picture, only change. Space was also invented as it is needed to create this giant stage for the performance, also known as the action that is called life. One needs the space for the things so said things can do.
Mm-hmm.
Time is observed by the movement of everything, like the celestial bodies, including Earth. That's the whole premise of astrology, and now astronomy. When the night cycle of rhythm begins, time ceases to exist, since no change is occurring in that period. For any of this to even manifest to begin with, it had to be a thought, formed first. Without the space to form, none of the other steps can perform their actions. So this is basically explaining like why the concepts of time and space are necessary for this reality to exist. Even though they are in nature an illusion, it's needed so people can come here, have the experiences they need to experience, learn the lessons that they need to learn. This is to show the building blocks of how this reality was formed by the eternal parent. Think of it as an inescapable matrix is the wrong line of thinking. Everyone here wants godhood, evolution, and to be free. This is the trial to earn it, that we all consented to, whether you remember it or not. You wouldn't have been placed into this time space otherwise. If you can calm your mind from your suffrage for a moment, this will ring true to anyone and everyone. I know it did for me. During COVID, that was, I mean, it was bad for a lot of people, but it was prime time to go within. And
Definitely.
I learned a lot during that like span of like what, 4 years?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I had my awakening in 2018, and 2020 gave me the time to really dive deep into it.
Yep.
So yeah, I'm thankful actually for that's the one positive thing. I was
Yeah.
thankful for the time to have that reflection.
Yep. And focusing
Well,
on the
this
good.
really answers the question of why am I here?
Yeah.
How did I
Mhm.
get here? And why am I here? And why am I still here?
Yeah.
If reincarnation is real, then why the hell do I keep coming back? So it's kind of like you're a thought form. We're in a three-dimensional human suit. We were created to carry as a vessel to carry that soul, so that soul can be here in the three-dimensional. But the soul creates the character, creates the illusion of this personage that you are.
Yeah. and the-
You know, nothing but an illusion. Well, screw you, lady. No, you're you're a beautiful creation because you're from the divine thought. Because
Mhm.
it's a fractal of the creator as a reflection of the creator's thought form. You are a beautiful thought.
Mhm.
In creator's divine mind or in creator's consciousness, he's just aware. The creator is energy. So the creator divides itself to create the individual souls, which is us. Hello.
Yep.
And we are beautiful. We are beautiful in that image. And so whatever we project, we take on different forms and different personalities and different traits, and we project ourselves into this reality. We're not trapped. We're remembering. That's the whole point.
Yep.
Mhm.
Is through learning the experiences, then we can take that information back to the what? Collective consciousness.
Right.
And get better, bigger and bigger and better and better.
Mhm.
You know?
Yeah. Something funny that comes to mind for me is as whenever like a rebellious teenager goes, "I didn't ask to be born." Oh,
Yeah.
sit down with me, you'll find out that is entirely false. You did ask for it, and you were eager.
Yeah. You agreed to this.
Yeah, that's how it works.
You're a sovereign being. You don't have to be here if you don't want to be here.
Exactly.
Hmm.
Alrighty. So, why opposites are necessary for the life formula to work and how to master it. When something manifests into reality, its opposite must exist as well for identification. There would be no hard without soft, hard without hot without cold, light without dark, etc. To master this is to combine them. Without pairings, nothing can be born. This also dives into the nature of sex and the principle of gender, but more on that later. To hate what is the opposite of you is to hate yourself. This is why mages, witches, and so on, who radicalize the darker light, are so unbalanced. Their polarity and fullness of existing is being denied by themselves. Thus, it should be common sense to anyone who claims to practice the occult magic that to participate in that type of mindset only leads to ruin for the user. When that corruption happens, the light radicalizes itself and forms like Scientology or the Crusades. Similar by how the dark, idolizing the likes of entities like Moloch, Satan, etc., performing grotesque rituals like sacrifices. Both sides forgetting their true role due to flared up emotions, rampant ego, and past life traumas that they haven't synchronized yet in their memory. The true student of the occult and the true members of these societies do not subscribe to such abnormalities that have been normalized. The best way to heal this misdirection is to not feed into it like so many do today. If you want life to be better, you must represent the part of the pair that is better, while accepting the latter is needed to learn and grow. This transmutes the fear into courage, hate into love, and so on. These concepts are very important to realize. I know how overwhelming it can be in our day-to-day lives, seeing all these abhorrent experiences that might not be necessarily happening to us, but people around the world.
Mm-hmm.
Seneca is a philosopher, and he has a good saying for this. is that if you want something to die, starve it. And what he means by this is that the best way to treat a problem is to not feed your energy into it.
Mm-hmm.
Basically it's the antithesis of an eye for an eye.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of going for an eye gets taken and you end it right then and there, instead of going into the paradox of back and forth violence.
Well, wouldn't this be a good example? Someone very close to me contacted me and said, I'm in the throes of the middle of what's going on in this city. There's major protest, and then there's police and military action going on. We're all very angry. We're all very upset. We're marching. We're trying to make our voices heard. I would like for you to put out a good intent for our well-being so that we're not injured or harmed. And my response was that don't put yourself in the middle of it to keep perpetuating it.
Yep.
Because thoughts matter.
Yep.
It doesn't mean you can't find constructive ways to do what you're trying to do to communicate. But if you're deliberately putting yourself in harm's way and kicking the bee's nest or poking the bear, then the bear is going to bite. And then you're going to defend yourself and shoot the bear.
Yep.
And then the bear's family is going to come after you and rip your butt apart. And then isn't it like a snowball rolling down a hill?
Yes. Yeah.
You know?
You bringing that up. You bringing that up reminds me of something that happened to me in real life. So I forget what the protest was about, but it was happening in our state. And my mom really wanted me to become an activist for it. I just looked at her. I'm like, why would I go downtown and cause a ruckus? What is that going to accomplish?
Right.
Me getting hit with rubber bullets and possibly like losing an eye or
being
crippled.
arrested or
like,
getting
what does that
shot.
accomplish?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Having to fight back and then hurting somebody else. Right.
Yeah. Those basic protests always turns into riots. So it's like, I just become the problem. I wouldn't be the solution. I wield my sword differently.
Yes.
I use a little bit more of this rather than emotions. So.
Well, one does have the right to defend oneself. Yeah. Self-defense is one thing. I'm talking about deliberately inserting yourself into something to keep feeding that energy cycle.
Yeah.
Laurie and I talk about that all the time, don't we? We just don't feed the vampires.
Exactly.
Yeah. There's other ways to accomplish your goals, and that just leads to more killing and more injury and more insult, and then you've created something as
more of the same. Yeah.
And I can't wait to dive into that concept later on. It's going to be a while later on because the Rosicrucians alone is so much information. But there's some factions, there's some secret society factions that are actual vampires. Not like the ones that you think on TV, but
energy vampires.
Yeah, they have psychic abilities. They've been here for a while. You could compare them to the concept of Nephilims. They're around. I found out some names. They've even pinged me because I found out a lot, and they're trying to see where I'm going to go with it. But that's
right on, Scotty boy.
Yeah,
Scotty boy.
Let's just say some of them are benevolent. They're just record keeping, while others are pretty malevolent and they like fueling things like wars and conflicts like that because they literally eat off it. But yeah, we'll dive into that another day.
Yeah. What do you serve? The dark or do you serve the light?
Yeah, that's a common concept that comes around all the time around here.
Yep.
That's just what you get when you're in a reality that represents balance.
Exactly.
You're gonna have to. You're gonna have both sides.
Yep.
All right, so let's continue.
Yes.
All right, so how the eternal parent is the all. This is man's way to attempt a possible way of describing something that is impossible to identify. To make an attempt to go outside of this is to stop existing, which is a concept that the Seven Sermons of the Dead kind of reaches with Carl Jung talking to Abraxas. That's going to be another thing. later on that we can talk about later on. We gotta focus on the Rosicrucian. To be forced into a conformed box lesser than the all is to go against the eternal flame's will to live. This is why in Gnostic mythos, Satanael wanted to rebel against the demiurge, not because it was going against the concept of the eternal parent, but because it wanted to see the full picture that is the eternal parent, that the entity known as Sophia in Gnostic mythos hid from the demiurge and everything that it made. Satanael desired what is true, not a truth, just like other seekers of wisdom. The argument then could be made that the demiurge actually understood this subconsciously, Satanael being the manifestation of this awareness. Maybe the demiurge conscious side just simply didn't want that can of worms to be open because it could erase the false reality it governed, along with getting its mother in trouble. Because anyone that has read the Gnostic mythos, Sophia did this in secret. No one was really supposed to do something like this because it's taboo, apparently. But that's just what they say. It's just another growing process. For life to keep going, this is an important blueprint. Well, part of the blueprint. So, regardless of what they said, this stuff was going to happen. And after our 7 cycles are done, it's going to happen again with something entirely new. It's just how it works. It's the will of life. So, dramas like these are inevitable when growth is necessary for the next step of ascension, for everything involved, including for the entity that was outside of it looking in, like Sophia. I thought bringing up the Gnostic mythos would be a good example to bring up to break the paradoxes of the half-wise way of thinking. It's also a story that was influenced by the teachings of this wisdom Rosicrucians and others taught.
Absolutely. That's right.
Yeah.
They spoke in story. They told these. A lot of people take each and every word literally, and it's all symbology, representing a thought or an idea. And so, what a great way to do it is to do what we do as creators: tell a story. Tell a story. And
Tell a vision.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
I just prefer my vision to be more beneficial rather than oppressive. That's just me, though. So the conclusion and final thoughts to part 2 is I really liked how they worded it at the end of this chapter. So I'm just going to quote them.
Okay.
In their book. So they say, and so the Rosicrucians regard the fact of the infinite unmanifest, the absolute essence, only under the symbol of the infinite sea of pure space, resting in a state of absolute calm and absolute transparency, through which the mortal eye gazes and seems to see but nothing. So a side note, in Hermetics, they teach this concept by describing a candle. So when you have a candle, you light it, you see the flame. As you go closer to the wick, you're not really seeing a fire. You're seeing something that's transparent. It's see-through. You can't see it, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's not there. This is what they're referring to. And any student that is a bit more advanced understands this concept already, but for the sake of this video, I'm going to explain it in case some people in the channel might not know it. So,
are they also saying that so they're actually saying you're not caught up in a cycle, you're not trapped in a wheel, you are experiencing different stages of how you spin that wheel one way or the other.
It's basically,
and that it actually gives you a way out, that life here actually gives you a way back to your route to home.
Yeah. It's basically the whole concept of evolution, not just on the physical aspect, but on the mental and the spiritual sides. If you want to ascend to that demigod stage that humans are at the cusp of grabbing, you have to go through the 7 cycles, which is what the epochs talk about.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, we're on the 5th. So if this is the 5th, after this one, we got 2 more left.
Yeah.
If all the teachings have been as accurate as they claim to be. So it's not that we're trapped. It just takes some time.
No, it's like you can choose to. I think people tend to feel that way. I know I have lately, at times, felt it. But I know the truth, that's a lie. But I can see why some people get lost in that, especially if you're coming into spirituality and you're new to it, or you're on the cusp of trying to see if it makes sense. It's not a religion, it's an idea. It's a philosophy, it's a belief, a way of living here in this reality that we have all created. But you can choose to feel trapped. And as long as you do that and you're not working with these principles at play and really understanding them, that's what you'll create. You'll create a gerbil cage for yourself to spin in. or you can do the opposite and you can choose to say, well, wait a minute. They're saying, people, all these groups of people throughout all of time have said, we have your understanding here of what this really is. It's not that you're trapped. You're working your way back home. You've never really left the spiritual realm, but your thoughts have created these thought forms for the illusion. So you're working your way back. It's a school. As we've said over and over and over, we're in the best university in the universe. This is probably the most advanced, complicated school. And that's what you'll hear when you hear people channeling spirit or channeling the angels or whoever they're channeling, masters. They're channeling parts of consciousness that's already been through all this, that's already mastered it all. And they're saying, wake up. We're here to tell you, you're not trapped. You're actually working your way back to your awakeness, your awareness, your understanding of who you truly are. And that you are a divine being within yourself. That's what Rosicrucianism is all about. And I don't care what they call themselves prior to the mid-turn of the century. They go all the way back to what people can remember of Atlantis. And I know that's anecdotal for some of you, fictional for some of you.
Mm-hmm.
But then you've got Egypt and Samaria and Göbekli Tepe and all these places all around the world that are saying we're 20,000, 30,000 years or more years old. So it goes way back to the beginning of early human development. Mm-hmm. Our spiritual growth is right there because we were using these souls as vessels. So that's what Rosicrucianism is about. And you're going to find threads, as Laurie said in the opening video, between these different secret societies and why they had to practice in secret some of this information. But you will find these common threads throughout because it's truth, in my opinion. To be in that many places and that many epochs through that many different societies and that many different orders, and there's always a sequence. Mm-hmm. There's always a flood story. They appear in 7s. They appear in 12s. It's the same information, but it's just digested slightly differently in each group, in each society. But it's still with us.
Yeah.
We're practicing it in modern spirituality. If there wasn't truth to it, it would have disappeared by now.
True. Very true.
Yep. Yeah. Civilizations are going to always interpret it the way they want to interpret it because it gives them culture and it gives them identity. But at the end of the day, it's all the same stuff.
Yeah. But have you noticed it almost always invariably results in the creation of some spin-off religion? Mm-hmm. There's always going to be a controlling factor there that tries to can it like a...
Manipulate, control.
Oh, let's can this soda. That's great beer. Let's can this beer. It's called Christianity. Let's can this. So they create these religions that have these structures,
Yep. There's always a used car salesman in the mix trying to scam somebody.
For
Yeah,
wealth
that's how it
and
works.
power. Wealth and power. Yep.
Yeah. They turn it into some religion, and hey, I'm not down in. Hey, you know, religion has a lot of good stuff about it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But when they twist the tenets of the truths or the teachings, the purity of the teachings themselves, and turn that and wrap it into dogma and spin it off into their own, then you're it's like taking a tank of gas. What's the worst thing you could put in the gas tank?
Not gas.
Anything that isn't gas.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, and if you pollute the fuel, the flame won't ignite, or it'll ignite in a really bad way.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, anyway.
It's good to mention for sure.
Yep.
Anyways, where did I leave? I left off right here. All right, so let me go
Yeah,
back.
this is the conclusion for part 2, and it's actually a good stopping point, isn't it? For
if you
carry
want
on
to, yeah.
with.
I did finish part 3, so if we want to talk about that, we can. If you don't think we got enough time, we can wait.
Well, if you could, it's 10:24, Laurie. What do you say?
It's up to you guys. I'm open for whatever you want to do.
All right, if part 3 is short like part 2, we'll. Okay, go for it.
Yep. Go ahead then.
All right, sounds good. All right, so where was I? I was. Yeah. So only under the symbol of the infinite sea of pure space, resting in a state of absolute calm and absolute transparency, through which the mortal eye gazes and seems to see but nothing, but the illumined intuition knownness to be allness instead of nothingness, absolute and infinite being instead of nothingness, infinite life instead of death. Though it cannot be perceived by mortal sense, and though it transcends the highest effort of both intellect and imagination to conceive or picture, yet the highest reports of pure reason informs us that it must be present, and the highest reports of intuitive faith render it impossible to doubt its all presence and reality. To the ignorant and the half-wise, this symbol may seem to indicate nothing, but to the illumined and truly wise, it is seen to represent absolute allness of reality. Gaze ye then upon this symbol of infinite space with awe, for it represents our highest, though feeble, efforts at expressing the nature of the infinite essence of being. So basically what the Rosicrucians here are saying is, rejoice, you're immortal. There's no such thing as death. Essentially.
Mm-hmm.
Which you know, the whole existential crisis, you know, I think almost everyone goes through that. So the fact that they're telling you like, nah, bro, like you're tripping. Like there is no such thing as death, only change. Like I think that's pretty cool. And once you start integrating your past lives, you'll know it to be true. Just like integrating with Thoth, you'll have a WTF moment every single time. It is so amusing. Just for an example.
You forget, you remember. You forget, you remember.
Yeah.
Sophia,
you wouldn't be able
know
to
thyself, question everything. Amen,
Mhm.
Sophia.
Yep.
Know thyself and question everything.
The way I see it is if you didn't get the veil as you're starting out, you wouldn't be able to learn whatever lessons you're trying to learn because you would have.
And you wouldn't focus on the life you're living. You would be clouded with so many other things, but your focus is on who you are now.
Yeah. And you would also have the intelligence to go around those issues.
Yes. Yeah. You could cheat on the test, so to speak. Huh?
Yeah. And they say all the time, you know, you can learn something, but to actually get it, you have to experience it.
Absolutely. Yep.
So that's why I think the veil exists. It's not.
Yes.
It's not.
I agree with you. Mm-hmm. I agree.
Yeah. It's not because they're trying to trap you and take advantage of you. It's because it's just part of the growing pains.
The way it works. Yep.
Yeah.
Now there are some entities that do take advantage of that, but you know, there's ways to get away from that.
Mm-hmm.
So this nice cycle of nothing, along with the other rules of reality that we touched upon, that the eternal parent created through thought, is what we call the Polarian of the first epoch. The giant cosmic egg of energy that started the day cycle. The eternal parent to us is everything. However, the fact that this parent is above the concepts they made implies there is something out there that surpasses what we can comprehend as everything. So we kind of touched on that already. Like, yeah, like
Mhm.
there is something more than just the material realm.
Mhm.
That's right.
Yep. That is the true nature of the matter. And by material realm, I'm also implying the spiritual side of things too. The material realm and the spiritual realm are the same coin, different sides.
Mhm.
Because if anyone here knows about the epochs, the first and second, they're mostly energy. First epoch, it was just a giant ball of energy. Everything was still what you would consider a singularity in that space.
Mhm.
Then in the second epoch, everything was still energy, but things started separating. It wasn't until the third epoch where that energy started falling down, condensing into physical matter.
Lumerian.
Yes, the Lemurian epoch. That's when they first started condensing into physical matter.
Mhm.
So what does this imply? This implies that spirit and body are made from the same stuff, which is also why I emphasize that don't be a hippie, don't be a egghead. Use your discernment and realize that both are important to get to the real meat and potatoes of what this reality is, because both are needed to tap into the mental aspect of life.
Mhm.
So now we're going to go into the part 3, the Polarian Epoch, the thing born from nothing. So from what we were just talking about, that's what I called Epoch 0, which is them making the space to start creating this reality. Now we're going to go into the Polarian Epoch, which is when that egg started to manifest into reality. And that is shown in figure 4, where in the circle of infinite is now having something inside it. This part of the teachings is actually what made me derail from studying the Dogon to focus on the Rosicrucians first, as my reintegration to past life memories and noticing similarities got ignited. Many celebrate this birth, as an example, through the Easter holiday. Cosmic egg, eggs in Easter, very symbolic. The cosmic egg is symbolized by putting a single point within the symbolism of the circle that represents infinity that we went over. Funny enough, the Dogon used the same symbol to explain the sacred geometry importance of temples of worship like stupas or the Vatican as examples. Dibbles of many kinds are symbolic for making a space of order out of chaos. It's also the glyph in Egypt and China for sun. This sacred geometry is even made as the first stage of a sperm fertilizing an egg. These correlations are fun to realize and is one of the gifts the Creator gave me to share with everyone else. Next time you come across a temple, regardless of the religion, pay attention to its basic geometry. The temple shape will have a circle with a point being in the middle, comprised of it in its form, if made correctly, regardless of the actual shape it is. For an example, a pyramid. We know a pyramid is made out of triangles, but you can carve out a circle and the middle will have the tip, just as an example. So even if it isn't a complete circle, like how the Vatican is, you can still find that geometry within sacred temples that were used for spiritual practices to tap into the divine.
You know, what's interesting to me, this just kind of popped into my head, was you're talking about the cosmic egg. So the yolk would be the consciousness and the shell would be the physical matter.
Yes.
So when your body dies, it's like the shell falling away. And then you have your consciousness, which returns to the all. It's kind of interesting. Yeah.
Yep.
Because really, your body is a shell when you leave it, because everything that makes you who you are goes on.
Yep.
Continues infinitely.
And that's where the immortality comes from. This body is a vehicle.
Right.
Even though it is you physically manifested, it's not
Right.
all of you.
Nope. Yep.
It's just an
Do you
aspect.
remember when we did the show about how souls are created in the Merkaba, and how souls divide just like cells divide?
Yeah.
This is representing the creator itself, the Godhead in the center, and it's representing the pulsation of energy outwards from an inner being to an outward being to the boundaries of your physicality in this planet. And so as you're working on spiritual development, the Rosicrucians will show you how that works, that movement works, that inner, outer. It's the same thing as the sperm and egg. And this is where the stories come from: Father, Son, and Holy Spirit, or mind, body, spirit.
Mm-hmm.
It starts here at the 0 point.
Yep.
And everything expands outwards from there, and then it contracts back in.
Yep.
So it's that vibration of expansion and contraction. It's the same thing you experience in the fertilization of the egg. It's all about energy.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So this part of the Rosicrucian's learnings directs us to this world's soul, which is also referred to as the cosmic egg, and the first manifestation of the eternal parent. In other philosophies, it is known as anima mundi, logos, demiurge, etc. This connection illuminates how childish wars over beliefs actually are. They are all preaching the same story in their own way.
Yeah.
Who they perceive as an enemy is in reality their fellow brothers and sisters, keeping the sacred flame alive. As the germ within the egg grows, it expands. Ironically enough, modern science has realized what spirituality has kept alive over the ages, that the universe is constantly expanding and cooling from the results of what they call the Big Bang.
Yep.
This is how it incorporates form and activity, and thus once it's done and cools off, we'll revert back to the cosmic night cycle. This paradox of life is the proof of our immortality, even if we don't remember it. When this reality has gone through its cycles, the 7 cycles I mentioned before, it will evolve into something more, and something less of its current self will take its place and start a new saga of epochs. How about that, folks? The ride never ends.
Uh-huh.
Get used to it.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm cool as long as I get free popcorn along the way with every ride.
So
I'm in it for the extra credit, actually.
right. Same, but you know.
I'm in it for the stuffed animals, you know.
So I want to bring up these pictures because I feel like it does really good with the symbolism. So this is the Vatican. See the circle and the point.
Yes.
This is earth shrines from the Dogon. As you can see, they're not full circles, but you could make a circle into a tip to represent the rod.
Yeah.
Yes. This is the sun glyph that I was mentioning about. Both China and Egypt use this one specifically for sun.
Mm-hmm.
And I found this picture. I liked it a lot because it picked on like 3 different cultures. So Ra, or Re, is the ancient Egyptian solar deity by the 5th dynasty. He had become a major god in ancient Egyptian religion, identified primarily with the midday sun. In Greek mythology, the name Deus means divine, and Dios in Spanish for God.
Mm-hmm.
So I like seeing that so many cultures are actually talking about the same thing. I feel like getting these connections is an important fundamental on finding the root of what is true in regards to our civilization.
Yeah. Is that picture on the left Dumbledore's sorting hat?
Oh, I don't know. I just liked it. So I was like, you know what?
Interesting correlation there.
What school are you in?
Fascinating.
Yeah, something about.
Yeah. Just modern thought carries through everything, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
Imperfection in the force. Okay.
All right.
Cool.
Imperfection and the force that makes it perfect. The Rosicrucians theorize that since this form of existing wasn't produced immediately or perfectly, that the tools needed to make this art we call life was limited as well. There was a countermeasure for this, however, and different schools of philosophy know this counter. Forgive me if I say this wrong, but Schopenhauer and Buddhists, for example, dub it as the will to live.
Schopenhauer.
This will, that is instinctive rather than intellectual, is the driving force of self-expression that exudes the axiom, when you have lemons, make lemonade. This is why I'm a firm believer teamwork makes the dream work. Everyone has strengths and weaknesses. Grouping people together can compensate other weaknesses with their strengths. Thoth helped with inventing D&D in Egypt as a way to practice this. Now that last part is a memory, but I'm very confident, I would bet money that D&D was invented in Egypt.
What's D&D stand for?
Dungeons and Dragons.
Oh, I was going to say death and destruction, but
basically it's a tabletop game where you have to work together to get the objectives done.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And it's good with, unbeknownst to the players usually, but it's good with developing critical thinking skills, common sense skills, teamwork skills, etc.
Mm-hmm.
Always saw it as a good tool. If you find people you like, you want to collaborate with them, throw them in a D&D session.
See how they perform.
Yeah, exactly. 9 times out of 10, they're just goofing off, but you know, sooner or later that it'll click, and that synergy is being formed. So, and then I like this quote: "We can change the world and make it a better place. It is in your hands to make a difference." Quoted by Nelson Mandela.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So this was a little bit of what you were going on about, Teresa.
Yeah.
So the world soul isn't eternal. It abides by the universal laws like everything else in it. The second aphorism states, "The flame is rekindled. The dark light once more bursts into flame throughout the form of the world soul, and the new universe begins." In the teachings of the Rosicrucian second aphorism, it states, "Flame is rekindled and time begins." This shows it is subjected to the principle of rhythm, now being in the day cycle, and confirms change has begun. So to try to put it in layman's terms without being a broken record, everything after Epoch Zero has to abide by the rules of reality that established Epoch Zero, otherwise known as the Hermetic principles, or the principles that the Rosicrucians also teach. They actually teach the same thing.
Or universal laws. Yeah.
Yeah, the universal law.
Mm-hmm.
A thing exists by definition. This cosmic egg is a thing, even though for us it can be hard to imagine the magnitude of it. Mentalism principle is applied here. Action begins. The inception of the germ within the egg makes this so. This is applied to the principle of vibration. Everything vibrating, nothing at rest, explains this constant activity, motion, and change. The pairs of opposites spring into being. Everything has a pair to it, as mentioned earlier. Since this egg is a thing, it is also subjected to the principle of polarity. Since it has a pairing, also known as a partner, it is also subjected to the principle of gender. This is how it was born to begin with. One needs a mom and a dad, by some degree, to be born the child. And then this brings up what Teresa was talking about. I kind of showed it through the 7-day cycle of what the Bible talks, but it could also be seen as the seed of life that Eastern philosophies teach. Yep, and that shows you the correlation.
So I'm getting something right now. Do you remember? Oh my God. When we studied the Essenes last year, and we had a discussion on this show, remember, Brian? We were talking about their practices, and they had a ritual, a 7-day ritual of prayer and meditation. And what they were doing, and I practiced it for 1 month, every day for 7 days, and I had morning, afternoon, and evening. So they had a morning prayer, an afternoon thought, and then an evening meditation. No, I did it for 2 weeks, excuse me. It seemed like 3 months because you're doing it in sevens. So on day 1, you just do it that one in the morning. On day 2, you do it in the morning, in the afternoon. On day 3, you do it morning, afternoon, evening. By the time you get to the Sabbath or the Sunday, you've got the full 7 days of recital that you go back through. It was a way of doing a guided meditation that they had. And they made connections with different spiritual thought forms or energy. They could be angels or it could be guardians of another sort. But it was mostly so that you could, by the seventh day, be in complete synchronization and balance with divine itself, divinity itself. So it's along very similar lines, because what they're doing here is they're creating their new reality on a weekly basis. So they start on day one. It's the 7 days of creation. So they're speaking it into existence.
Daily affirmations, real similar to Ascension, where you're trying not to think of negative thoughts, where you have to train the brain. So in modern spirituality, we train the brain to only accept positive thinking and to negate negative thoughts, to get off that wheel, so to speak. So that's very interesting to me, because that took me about 2 weeks to stop thinking negatively. I would not for 2 weeks allow any negative thinking. I would just push it aside, let it go. It would come in, I would let it go, and then I wouldn't think about it again. And it literally took me 2 weeks to retrain my brain, my thinking.
Yeah.
So that's fascinating to me.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's crazy that all these things are correlating with each other, because you got Christianity, you got Hermetics, you got Rosicrucians. This is even science. Like this is symbolically representing how cells multiply.
Yeah. Yes.
Into a baby. Because after the day 7 or the flower of life, it starts turning into more complex blueprints like the Merkaba or Metatron's cube as an example. And it multiplying and multiplying. What this is actually representing is a bunch of hard light folding over each other over and over and over again, like a katana, to actually make a body. That's how bodies are made. That's how we're light. And there was this video that I saw. I forget what it was, but they actually like did that over and over and over again, and it started making people faces, which is crazy to think about. But,
wow.
But yeah, this is essentially showing a blueprint of how this reality was made. And
so it's the nucleus. It's the nucleus, the cell division that actually creates the body.
Yep. So for the eggheads,
yes.
Like spirituality is a bunch of hoopla. But you believe in it too.
Yes.
You're just translating it differently.
Yeah.
That's what they did.
Yep.
The world should not be.
So the world soul not being eternal continued. So the principle of correspondence shows that just as an animal's egg develops step by step, the microcosm, the universe expands similarly to the macrocosm. And then that all of this activity creates the principle of cause and effect. The eternal egg was made because someone outside of its domain made the action to do so. The domino effect is the entire process of cosmology that I am teaching you now, and that other people like Laird Scranton has been teaching people. Therefore, the universal egg is subjected to the foundation of what I call Epoch Zero. This is why the principles in Hermetics are a master key, because to master these is to master the cosmic egg and everything in it. And then my final thoughts for part 3 is that this section of the Rosicrucian teachings pinpoint a few key concepts: how the universe was born, the rules needed to manifest it, how it is temporary in nature, and the most important one of all, that there is some kind of existence outside of all forms of this temporary matter. Even an adept student that comes across this revelation can end up going crazy, turning into full-fledged mania at the thought of all of this not being real and nothing but a cage. This is one of the reasons it was kept secret, but even then you can observe the behavior of world leaders and use common sense to realize the safeguard isn't foolproof. Talking about it is one thing, very few can actually handle the experience. Even fewer can handle the responsibility without taking advantage of everything around them. So this presentation is an attempt to balance that scale, along with mending that wrong way of thinking I've dubbed the logic plague.
I like that. Little logic plague.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And that is the first part of the Rosicrucian teachings.
Awesome.
I hope someone in here got something out of it.
I think we all did. Yes, everyone that paid attention and watched it thoroughly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Excellent
Mo-
presentation.
most of the folks that follow us, I mean,
Mm-hmm.
they're listening at home in the comfort of their own homes. They're not in the chat room. They're taking it all in, and they might ask questions later, or
Mm-hmm.
they might send you a message about it, Nick, or they might make a comment in our public section here on the chat, on the channel itself. But that was very comprehensive. It really did cover the basics of that order.
A lot of food for thought. Yes, most definitely.
Mhm.
Brian, as you were very quiet, you paid a lot of attention. What did you think about that?
This is very, excuse me, this is very fascinating. A couple things to me when Teresa was just talking about them praying for 7 days.
Mm-hmm.
It could be as simple as something that I just learned here recently is letting the ego go for 7 days and doing one act of kindness each day without any recognition, without telling anybody. It could be as simple as that. You don't have to pray every day for 7 days, but put the ego away for 7 days and just do one act of kindness, not to be recognized for it or to tell people, hey, I did this act of kindness, just to do the act of kindness.
Mhm.
I like that. Very good.
When you were talking earlier, Teresa, about who am I and how I got here, another thing that I have learned recently, we've all, from the very beginning, we always been a part of the whole.
Mm-hmm.
And what we wanted to do, we wanted to experience individuality. So when we broke away from that whole, we dropped down through all them bells of forgetfulness. And when we did, that actually created anxiety for our spirit because we didn't feel that connection to the whole. And that's what we're trying to do now, is to get back to that connection of the whole.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I would agree.
It's kind of like that's kind of like the video Marsha copied us on with Greg Braden and on Next Level Soulcast, where Greg Braden was saying something along similar lines. He's like, a child grieves and feels pain. I mean, feels agony in the body when its parents dies suddenly. A child feels cut off, severed, because a part of that child feels like it's missing because mom is gone. Vice versa, a woman, such as our lovely friend Brenda and any other who's lost a child, it's terrible for a parent to have to outlive a child.
Yeah.
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 And when that child goes, there's a tether, a silver cord, a tether on a soul level, but on a human level, there's that DNA, that blood structure, and so we can feel completely divided, cut off, split off, separated, until the point where we actually feel pain.
Yeah.
We can actually have a stroke or see. Yeah.
That's grief. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the grief just tears you apart. And so, but there can be the same feeling that you have from the creator itself. You can feel that complete separation, tearing off and pulling off when something doesn't go your way, or you feel like you've been let down by the universe, or you feel that there's something that's higher, greater than yourself, that's doing something to prevent you or block you from succeeding. And so you can feel and begin to feel, that's where depression and anxiety come in, addictions come in, ways of trying to cope with the disappointment. And as Nick just said, they were concerned about people practicing and not really getting this or being mature enough spiritually or mentally or physically to go through this process. And so they had to keep certain parts of it secret because it's very deep. And I can tell you right now, in the past week, I've been practicing some of the tools that they teach to bring you closer to Creator, to let you feel almost at an instant after you've done these exercises for a while. It's like turning on a switch and you're never able to turn it off. And when you get a piece of bad news, or you feel like, wait a minute, I've done this and this and this and this and this. I've set the intent. I've made the action. I've made it not about me. I've picked out things and done things that will serve others in the process. I've done everything I possibly can. But you start to feel that separation. You start to not trust that connection. Watch it, because you can put yourself into a tizzy about it, and all of a sudden you're doubting spirit. You're doubting divinity. You're doubting whether or not they could show me the money. Okay, so show me the money. Okay, I've done everything I'm supposed to do, but I don't have any more blocks. I've let go of this. I've let go of that. There are situations and circumstances in life that are going to be like that. And so my typical thing is I'm like a tea kettle. You know, the tea kettle has to have the steam, and the little cork comes up, keeps it from boiling over, right?
Mm-hmm.
Lets off the pressure. I'm just one of those people that has that moment. Okay. Thank you, Divine. Thank you. Yeah, I know I went there for 5 seconds. I know.
Yeah. So I'm okay now.
I'm okay now. You're not going to take me. You're not going to take my progress and punish me for having that moment, because I had to do it to keep myself from going ape.
Yeah, right.
So, but I mean, I'm that type of person that has to have an outlet like that. And
Yeah.
And you know, but I'm right back to the love. I'm right back to the trust. But I can see how it's been building in me, and I used to be terrible. Now I catch it within seconds, or I only feel that way for a few seconds. But eventually, I hope to get to the point where I have such complete confidence that I don't get that way at all. But being humans, we're still in years near. I mean, I'm 65 years old, so you've got years of conditioning of being that way. So it takes a while. It takes a while to overcome that. But can you imagine what these initiates did early on with the early Rosicrucians?
Yeah.
Back in a time where they didn't have communication the way we have now.
No
True.
cars,
Yeah.
no phone.
Yeah.
No cars, no phone. You're kind of isolated, and you're having to go through this, and it's like, it was tough work. It's still tough now in a different way. But,
I mean, imagining what happened with the Atlanteans, their entire continent got sunk. So like they didn't know what to expect. So they were literally going in blind when Thoth and the others got the responsibility for it. So
yeah.
Wow. Well, Nick, very interesting. We absolutely enjoyed it. It was great conversation. I love everything that you brought up and that you spoke about. I think it was very well needed, and I think people go away from this episode understanding the Rosicrucian Order in a whole different light. Yeah. So thanks for helping shedding light on this subject and bringing it to the table.
What's next after this?
Oh, there's still way more on Rosicrucians. Yeah. This is like so on their book, it's like 8 hours long. Like it's a big book. So I kind of divided into 13 parts. This is only part like 3. Mm-hmm. So there's gonna be more on Rosicrucians than what they teach before we go into the next society.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Well, watch for the thumbnail, and you'll know more about what's going on. And anybody, any final thoughts? Anything more to say on the subject?
If anyone has questions or want to reach out to me, you're more than welcome to. I have a lot of free time right now, so
awesome. Yeah,
I'm available.
Love it.
If you can't contact me, contact Teresa or Laurie. They have permission to send you to me.
So. Yep, you betcha.
Man.
I wanted to share a quote.
Okay.
The founder of the Rosicrucian Fellowship there's many schools and many branches. So this is the Rosicrucian Mysteries Order. Rosicrucian Mysteries Order, Max Heindel. who I think you were referring to in the beginning.
Mhm.
Yeah. He went by Magus Incognito when he first.
Magnus Incognito.
Okay,
Yeah.
there you go.
Okay, he says here. Here we go. The idea to be held in mind is that of rising above these lower levels of fear, anger, and worry to a plane of indifference, cheerfulness, and confidence. The first step to be taken is to gain control of the will. Gain control of the will. Wishful thinking and desires alone will do nothing. It's all about your intent and where you're coming from with that intent and taking action on that intent. If you want to be a very powerful creator of your own reality, you want to change things, you have to understand the fundamental difference between desire and intention. Wishful thinking is good, but it's ineffective if it just ends as wishful thinking. That's what he's really saying. Something else needs to happen. And this is where your intent becomes your you're activating your own free will choice. Your intent becomes your choice. And as I said to Laurie, I really, really want this. That's what I want. That's what I desire. The next is, I think I could have it if I did this, this, and that. Maybe I could do this and maybe I can have what I want. It's not good enough. Taking control of your will is to say, I'm divine and I will have it.
Oh yeah, you'd be surprised how easy that is once you get it down and how much things just come to you on a silver platter. It's a good feeling.
Mhm. Yeah.
So I've taken all the actions, and the other thing he's saying here is you can't channel, the human vessel can channel divine energy, but will only do so when it is receptive to it in the first place. When divine will and personal will are one in this alignment, they are in perfect harmony, and you are able to do better and bigger. And one of the ways to do that, and this is what the Rosicrucians, and you'll be picking up on more of this with Nick, helping people with giving more, with being outward rather than just taking things. When your goals become aligned to the betterment of the universe, and you can see how achieving your goals benefits two or more people, you are actually getting slowly more and more attuned and aligned with divine will. When we tap into the intention of giving, we are actually channeling divine will, and we automatically change our state of consciousness from the lower levels to a higher and higher level that we focus on giving and opening up to ourselves. It's kind of like saying, I want X amount of money, and I want it now, and I want all these things with it, and I envision this, and this is what I'm going to do, and this is how it's going to be, and this is what it's going to do. I'm going to lay it out this way. If you like it, fine. If you don't, you don't. Don't work. If you step 2, oops, that didn't work. Step 2, you come along, you go, okay, I'll consider your thoughts and suggestions on this, and I'll go with that. Yeah, that sounds pretty good. So I'm starting to work with you, and then we'll do this, and then we'll do that. Okay, so that'll help you. How does that help you? Oh, really? It helps you. Okay, we'll do that. I'll settle for less of what I want here, and I'll do it this way because it'll help you too. Wow. And then things don't go right. You go, I shouldn't have sacrificed that. And I give it. I let her have it her way. No, that didn't work either. That's when I finally realized, wait a minute. To get what I want, to produce what I want to create here, to be whole and complete in that creation, I have to love enough to accept that anything's possible. And if I can help these people accomplish their goal, and I can be happy in the space that I'm in because I have all I need, I could trust that the universal will is going to help guide me to get everything that I will eventually need. It might not be perfect. I think I said this last week. It might not be everything I expected in the way I expected it. But I also don't have to think I'm sacrificing my own will. I'm controlling my will in such a way that I'm gifting to other people their ability to control their will and their plan and their journey.
Mm-hmm.
Because by behaving that way initially, without realizing it, I wasn't respecting the other person, their will, their role in the game, and the agreement that I made with them. So now things are so totally different that I'm actually helping. If I can pull, if I'm in the universal flow, everybody's going to get what they need and then some. It's a domino effect. So just by being this way now, I'm changing not only my now, but in my reality and creating my reality. It's still being created. It's a work in process. But the point is that I'm working through it more effectively, taking the ups and downs a little bit better. But I'm making decisions that affect other people in a positive way because I'm serving the greater good. It's not that I'm sacrificing anything. I'm finding a way to work with the greater good so that everybody gets something from it. And so things are moving. Go ahead, Laurie.
Mm-hmm. What's good for the goose is good for the gander.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Awesome.
So anyway, I hope that's what you, because this is what the basis, this is kind of at a very basic level of what Rosicrucianism was the people in that order throughout the ages, even though it wasn't called Rosicrucianism way back in Atlantis or way back in, whatever they called themselves. They were just a brotherhood of people, and eventually brother and women, men and women, together forming a sacred knowledge and sacred teaching. And that's how you release the insanity, by the way. That's how you keep from losing your mind. You just shift the focus from me, I, to service to others.
What's best for all involved.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So anyway, thank you, Nick.
Yes. Thank you so much.
Thank
and
you for
we appreciate you betcha. Yeah, you betcha. You're a trusted member of the team. So yes, absolutely. I just want to thank everyone for being in chat tonight. Really appreciate y'all being here. Appreciate the people that are watching silently and those who will watch later. So great love and appreciation for all of you. Thank you, everyone on the panel. Your time and energy, it's valuable. And you spent a good couple of hours on here spreading some of that wisdom and knowledge. So hope this helps. Look for the thumbnail for next week. And for now, we're going to say goodbye. And remember, you're perfect, whole, and complete, and you're one with the universal consciousness and the all that is. We love you guys. Thank you so much. Take care.
Good night.
Bye-bye, everyone.